You spend way too much of your life explaining yourself to people who don't even deserve an explanation, and you don't even notice it anymore. That's the crazy part. Most men walk around thinking they owe the world a reason for every move they make, every choice, every boundary, every no, and the more you explain yourself, the smaller you start to feel. The more you justify, the more permission you unconsciously ask for. And here's the uncomfortable truth most men never want to admit. Over-explaining is usually a sign that you don't fully trust your own decisions yet. This topic matters because it's one of the silent habits that quietly drains men of confidence every single day. Nobody talks about it, but it shapes everything: how you look, how you speak, how people treat you, and how much respect you get. When you're always ready to defend yourself, what you're really saying is, "I hope this is okay with you." You may not say those words out loud, but it's in your tone, your body language, your energy. And people pick up on that. Women pick up on that. Your friends, your coworkers, your family, everyone feels the insecurity behind the explanations.So. Let's break this down in a simple, real way. This isn't about being rude. It's not about being cold or acting like you don't care about anyone. It's about understanding that a man who knows who he is doesn't need to justify every step he takes. He moves with intention. He speaks with clarity. And when he says something, he doesn't drag a paragraph behind it just to make it sound acceptable. That's the difference between talking with confidence and talking with fear. And if you're here right now, it probably means you're ready to shift out of that old pattern. You're ready to stop shrinking yourself to be understood and start acting like a man who stands on his choices.So. If you're new here, welcome. I'm glad you showed up. This channel is all about helping men think sharper, move stronger, and carry themselves with the kind of presence that earns respect without trying. Let's get into this. 1. You're trained to seek approval. Most men don't realize how deeply they've been trained to look for approval before acting. It starts young: parents, teachers, coaches, all telling you what's acceptable and what's not. Over time, you learn to clear every move with someone else. As an adult, that same habit shows up in your relationships, your work, and your social life. You make a decision, but then you immediately feel the urge to justify it. You say yes to something you don't want, then explain why you said yes. You set a boundary, then explain why it's not personal. The problem isn't the explanation, it's the instinct. The automatic response to protect yourself from disapproval. When you live like that, your decisions never belong fully to you. They belong to the reactions you fear. And the truth is, people can sense when you carry that fear. It makes them take you less seriously. The moment you stop explaining every choice is the moment you start reclaiming your authority over your own life. 2. Explanations signal insecurity. Men rarely realize how over-explaining comes off. When you give long explanations for simple decisions, it makes you look like you're unsure of yourself. Even if your intentions are good, the message you send is, "I'm not confident in what I'm saying." A man who trusts himself doesn't need permission. He doesn't talk circles around a point. He says what he means and lets it sit. When you speak clearly and directly, people respond differently. They listen more. They test you less. They respect you more because they can feel that you stand behind your words. Over-explaining does the opposite. It tells the world your decisions are shaky. You don't need to justify being who you are. You just need to stand behind it. 3. Some people don't deserve a reason. Not everyone is entitled to your explanations. Some people ask why, not because they genuinely want to understand you, but because they want leverage over you. They want to question your choices, slow you down, challenge your confidence, or make your decisions revolve around them. And every time you explain yourself to someone who doesn't respect you, you hand them power. Men often forget this. You think you're being polite or reasonable, but you're actually feeding people who drain your energy. You must learn to separate people who deserve clarity from people who deserve silence. And sometimes, the most confident answer a man can give is, "That's just the decision I'm making." 4. Less talk, more presence. Men underestimate how powerful silence can be. A lot of times, you don't need to defend your choices, you just need to stand in them. The more you talk, the more you dilute your point. The less you talk, the more your presence carries weight. When you give short, clear responses, people take your words more seriously. It forces them to pay attention. It also forces you to be intentional about what you say. You don't need to win debates. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need validation. You just need to act like a man who trusts his own judgment. Presence always beats explanations. 5. You teach people how to treat you. Every explanation you give sets a precedent. If you explain yourself constantly, people expect it. If you defend every boundary, they'll push it. If you justify every decision, they'll challenge it more. You train people with your patterns. Imagine this. You tell someone you can't make it tonight, and instead of simply saying it, you give a whole breakdown of why. Suddenly, your decisions become negotiable because you've shown you're willing to defend them. But if you say it clearly and calmly, people realize there's no debate to enter. You teach others to respect your word by respecting it yourself first. Here's the controversial truth. Most men talk themselves out of their own power. Not because they're weak, but because nobody taught them how to stand firm without over-explaining everything. If you want more respect, give fewer reasons. If you want more peace, stop justifying your boundaries. If you want more confidence, trust your own decisions before anyone else does. I'd love to hear your experiences with this. Drop them in the comments. I read them, I respond to them, and I appreciate the men who show up here ready to level up. Let's keep growing.